right, guys, let's rock and roll here a little bit. It's 5:30 on this lovely June 14th. Or June, God, okay. Hi, it's July. I slept through it, reading the minutes. My brother's birthday today, so happy birthday to my brother. 63. Gathering a July meeting, City of Lawrence Board of Parks and Recreation. Thank you, Dee, for getting the minutes out. If you have not had a chance to peruse them, give you a moment or so to do so. And if there are no additions, subtractions, corrections, anything, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. A couple things here on our board comments. Once more, Eric, the department screwed up in reverse. Get a chance to do this again next year, the 4th of July celebration. I want to thank the mayor for letting me be the grand marshal and Coach Reeser drive me around. I think I tore my rotator cuff. I threw out 16 pounds of candy.
You didn't just do the thing.
Kind of a parade way, but I was too busy doing what I do best, and that's yakking. But I really, forget the 4th for a minute. I drove right through the park several times a week. I told Eric if there's a way we don't use Community Park for the 4th. Pristine. The work the guys did to prepare that facility. And Eric, I've been hanging around you since 83 or 84. That was the single best community park literally has ever looked. And it was simply spectacular. We have a shout out to Eric and RJ and Dee from the department, and of course the guys. We don't have very many, we're a very tiny department, as you know, and what they did, getting prepped for it, working day of, and of course ever popular July 5th bending and stooping, as we like to affectionately refer to it as. It was just a great parade. Miss Corey and Dee working on that. Parade was holy hell long. Fireworks, like I said, you screwed up, you get to do it again next year, but I always like to throw this in. We are the only parade in Marion County. How do we verify that on the 4th? Anybody running for any office was in our parade. That's how you verify that. But after the car show, which was unbelievable, the Kiwanis, 500 pounds of fish. Good job, Miss Scooter, and your group. You guys did another amazing job. But if you walked around our park, we are a large pizza of demographics with everything on it. Blacks, browns, whites. That's the neat thing, having lived here 61 years and seeing and experiencing that. Never ceases to amaze what we do. That was awesome. A couple other shout out. March Pride Lawrence Township, we got together at the end of June. 190 kids, 6 parks. I got to work with the trumpet and flute section. Marching Pride's a combination of both high schools, musician. Cross-country kids and marching band kids are a lot alike, highly motivated. They're in the 10-hour shift right now of practice, get ready for their season. All I had to do is who wanted to paint, who wanted to clean the parking lot, the old firehouse and the park. The girls wanted to paint, the boys, they wanted to clean the parking lot, and I just got out of the way. And of course, the girls had to paint on themselves. I said, guys, you're gonna get yelled at. But Ms. Corey arranged that with because they wanted to do a day of service, and holy heck, it was awesome. Hopefully, you get a chance to get them back next year. Just one more thing here, real quick. If you get a chance, drive around Civic Plaza. Shout out to the parks guy and Jimmy Hennigan, the street department. They pulled out all the juniper bushes. They're gonna basically ring the trees. We're going to put concrete where the junipers used to be. That will help us expand our use of the complex. And we are capping off the rain gardens. They'll still serve as a storm drainage, but we're capping those off. Maintenance issues, and we just wanted to increase our footprint. So if you get a chance, the cleanup looks really good. So give a big shout out to our folks. And then last, where are we at, Eric, with rules for our parks, security for park rentals? I just wanted to touch on that.
We have incorporated the additional charge for security into our contracts, and he's doing a lot of it himself, but he's
Right.
having some success in finding additional security officers to help him. So that part is fine. It was a busy month, so we didn't
Right.
get much done on the park rules.
I didn't think so, but
We're still working on that.
we are in the dog days.
We did get some signage
Okay.
to put out at Veterans and Burns Park to hopefully help with the littering there. So those should be out this week.
Board members, anything on your mind? Yes, Ms. Headley.
Did we ever figure out about the, what do you call them, the people that supply the food for the,
Caterers.
yeah, the caterers? Did we ever figure out?
We haven't done any more work on that since we last talked. Those are due up at the end of the year, I believe, those contracts, so. Yeah, April. Oh, so, yeah, we haven't, Forrester's getting a lot of the contracts lately, so, but yeah, we need to pull that back up and revisit that. I'm not sure if it's working the way that we wanted it to, so we will.
Yes, sir.
I noticed we made some progress on Lee Road Park, trying to get some of the things taken out of there. What's the plan for that?
Well, a lot of that was done, as Jeff mentioned, during the
Yeah, and pulling the fences out and,
26 when the
Okay.
kids were helping. That was one of the park locations. So, and again, Jim Hennigan's crew, and he helped pull those. So we've got to get a dumpster in out there to get that stuff picked up and get that, the fencing and things put in. So we've
here's the
got to
big,
order those in.
the giant issue, I'm gonna piggyback on what you said. They're not gonna be used. We're not gonna move them.
Oh, those things. No.
What, not
we're
the tower?
Scoring
thing?
towers.
Yeah, the scoring towers, they have to go. Because eventually, those, you talk about an attractive nuisance.
Yeah, I agree.
Something's gonna happen, someone's gonna sit, and then we're gonna go, why did this happen?
Let's say, there'd be a lot of kids meeting out there.
Yeah, I mean, we're invited, we're making that our problem, and we
I think those
should,
things just need to go.
correct.
Yeah.
Not getting moved.
And again, we don't want to tear them down until we have the dumpsters out there and can
Plate.
Okay, gotcha.
hold off. So.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep,
That's what they're just-
Now I got a better visual.
go ahead.
Yeah, the nature trail thing where people were saying, no, you cut down stuff. Did we get everybody
I
satisfied?
think we've got everybody. Miss Liz has been out
Liz.
there planting and helping to identify some of those areas.
Our
So.
trail, Jimmy Hennigan just took it upon himself to beautify.
So Jim and I had a chat, and we are working together on delineating which are the areas where we are planting native flowers, and those are marked off with wood. And then also we're going to work on getting signs. We're not sure if we'll get a sign so that you can just put your phone on it.
Right.
And it'll tell you about the little areas, the pocket gardens. And also, we're going to make sure that we keep the natives that are already there. Like there are many wonderful flowers, and not inadvertently remove those when we're taking out the honeysuckle and the Canada thistles. So work together and make sure we carefully take out the problem plants and keep the ones like the wild ginger, and make it even more attractive than it already is. And I think a lot of people really enjoy it. And there's also, did we mention that there's been a plaque put on one of the benches that Eric took care of in memory of Lorraine Bartenbach's son who was committed suicide, and she wanted to honor him with this bench and eventually perhaps get something to do to help people who are dealing with family members dealing with that difficult issue or not. So I think the idea of putting plaques on the benches is something that we might want to continue doing. It's a way to honor people.
Right.
And it doesn't take up any room.
No,
It
it
takes
doesn't.
advantage of the attractive benches that are already there. Is there anything else I can answer?
We're good?
That's good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anything else? Mr. Martin?
Just real quickly, Jeff's already mentioned the Marching Pride, but 190 kids, 6 park locations. I grimaced when Corey brought this to my attention, but it did work out very well that day. Next time we'll have a lot more work for them to do that's not as detailed as some of the things we picked out. So, but great job. Those young people did a great job for us. You mentioned the July 4th, and again, I wanted to piggyback on your discussion of the staff, and we only have 6 maintenance members, and they worked 16-hour days on that day, and then came in at 6 o'clock the next morning to pick up and make things presentable for the. And I wanted to thank Miss Taylor for helping, Miss Karen Taylor for helping with the pull weeds at Civic Plaza, and then the Field of Honor.
And Miss Lizzie out at,
Miss Liz was there too.
out at Lee Road Park, just, God.
The Field of Honor that was there during the
Yep.
July 4th program or through the week. That's a cooperative effort with the American Legion, and there was some discussion about the field. It's in proximity to the American Legion. It was an old road. It's an old roadway. The dirt that was brought in isn't suitable for a lot of things. So they had some trouble driving their stakes into so we're going to look at that next year if there's something the city can help them do that process. But it was very nice to see the Vietnam War Memorial brought in by the VVA 295 was here on Lawton Loop from the 22nd through the 24th, and it was very well attended. We provide the bleachers and trash removal for the site for that weekend. And then lastly, I'll mention the Next Level Trail Round 3, which we're working on now, which is our Lee Road Trail from roughly 59th Street to 63rd and then to Winona. We're in the land acquisition phase, getting ready to start that. And then we hope to go to bid sometime in November, December, and then start construction early 2024. So we still have some finance issues. We're hoping that the council will appropriate some of the ARP funding for our land acquisition portion of that. So we still have some things to take care of there. But all in all, it's coming together quite well, and kind of piggybacks on some of your other discussions tonight. So again,
Couple things. One thing, Eric, real quick. I ask this every year. The budgets. It's getting to be budget season, and and part of the discussion I wanted Eric to share with this board here, accomplishments, goals remaining, and then objectives going into next year. And this group's been together a long time. Where it says 2024 objectives, if there's anything you see or don't see, more importantly, on there, Shoot that off to Eric, please. Pie in the sky stuff, or I don't care. Or of the more practical, that's important too. But let's shoot that off to Eric, with the arrival of the cultural campus, Heartland Film Festival, building a civic plaza, the repurposing of Lee Road Park, the building of the Lee Road Trail, and once more, we're going to have an exciting discussion about trails here very, very shortly this evening. We're not just lining baseball, soccer fields anymore. We just aren't. We put on great 4th of July parade, which has always gone on, but we're doing other celebrations and the like. So whatever you can think that either enhances our celebrations, our facilities, or something we need, even folks out in the audience, you think of objectives that it can be unrealistic. I'm unrealistic. Eric's known me 40 years. He knows I'm unrealistic. Joe Murphy out here has known me. But, shoot it that way, okay? It's that important.
So our goals and objectives, some of our revenue projections and things are due this week, and then the budget format should come out next week. So
Okay.
we'll start to work on that.
Any other questions? Ms. Corey, can I call you up here to pick your brain real quick, Give us a real quick events update, and go ahead and share with the group. We had a little thing called a full total eclipse next year that it will be another 400 years before something like this will be that visible here in central Indiana. And Ms. Corey is driving. There are events all over the place to take advantage of the event. People go, it only the last 4 minutes, but I've been to the Kentucky Derby 6 times, and that's the most exciting 2 minutes in sports, and they make a whole month out of it.
All right, thank you. First of all, I'm going to circle back to the MPL cleanup day, because in addition to all the kids, I want to thank our sponsors for that event, Ski Landscape, USI, and Texas Roadhouse. So we were also, not only did they do work, but actually we brought all the kids together afterwards and were able to have a meal with them. So it was just a good day of community building. Also, I want to circle back and say thanks for July 4th, because I think we can't thank everyone enough. It's amazing when you can have about 10,000 people throughout the day coming through Lawrence and our parks and have it happen in a safe manner with no incident. So really proud. It talks a lot to the pre-planning that goes into that and the work of everyone coordinating and making sure, because it's not just our public safety officers present, but the presence of all our employees out there. I think that really helps make it a great day. As far as upcoming events, tomorrow is a busy day in Lawrence. Not only do we have the Fort Bend Farmers Market, which happens at the cultural campus from 4 to 7. At 7 p.m., when that's wrapping up, Run 317 will be going through Lawrence. So it's a fun run. The medal is really cool. It has our logo in the middle of it. It's a spinner.
Is the starter. I'm a big Drew fan.
And then we also have our 3rd town hall of the year taking place at Coron Manufactured Homes. So you can come to the farmers market and get out before the run starts and get over to Coron's, and we'll be on their front porch there starting at 6 o'clock, and that'll go till about 8 o'clock in the evening. Then also coming up on August 12th is Community Safety Day from 10 to 2, and that is right on the corner of Lee Road and 59th Street at our fire station there. But a great day of family fun, free to the public, and I guess we like to feed people, because don't forget the free hot dogs and all that good stuff, but also it's just a great fun day with interacting with our public safety personnel. And again, everyone's out there, and how are the parks involved? These are the guys who set it up and get it ready and make it all happen and clean up afterwards. So we appreciate everything that they do. Also today, I had a meeting with the new library coming in, the Indianapolis Public Library, and we are working on a collaboration effort. There has been questions about what's happening over at Civic Plaza, how are we using that space? Not only will they be involved in Winterfest and those kinds of things, but once they get open, as they're working through the programming, they're going to be doing story time on the plaza. During summertime, they'll be doing some of their programming that will be happening there. So we are beginning to program that space in collaboration with the library. So they'll be responsible for bringing the kids there and doing all that stuff, but they will be using our space. So another great way to use our park through collaborative.
It opens August 19th.
Yes.
The public
August-
library?
Yes.
You were reading my mind. I was going to ask.
No.
9:30, a band is playing at the front doors. At 10 o'clock, the doors open, and then the ribbon cutting will take place about 10:30 or 11, right in that time, depending on how long it takes to get people in. So it should be a good day there as well. Anything I missed? Oh, the eclipse. How can
Yeah,
I
that's
forget
what I
the
would- yeah.
eclipse? Thank you.
That's our new baby.
Also, so April 8th, 2024, the total eclipse passes over Indianapolis, and they are expecting about the Indianapolis area. We are right on the path of totality, and we are expecting about 400,000 people to come to the Indianapolis area for that event, and Lawrence will be one of the places that they come. I think we have about 10 seconds more
Yeah.
of darkness than they do in Broad Ripple, so a better place to come watch. Schools are not in session on that Monday, but we start planning all the way in December leading up. So our theme, actually November, so our theme for the parade this year, our Lawrence Christmas Parade is Ice Eclipse. And then we will be working and our winter solstice event. The library will be helping us with that, and they're also going to add some eclipse type things to that. They also, then starting in January, February, and March, Heartland Film is doing some programming for us, and so they've written some grants, and so as soon as we can announce that award and what they are doing, but they will be doing science-based theme. Talked today about the library, about also doing some science-based programming, solar system stuff during that time as well to support that and talk about that. And then on, let's see, also working with Arts for Lawrence so that the Visual Arts Gallery will have, again, that eclipse type theme happening as what they have on display at there. And then on Saturday the 6th, we are looking at doing a total eclipse of the sun run, and so that is happening. Then after that is the next day on Sunday the 7th is a pickleball tournament. And then we will have a music festival at Community Park from 12 to 6. I believe that Jay Baker Band has been confirmed for that, is our headliner. So there'll be 2 small acts before the eclipse, then they would be playing after the eclipse. We're just, I think Jody was able to get that confirmed. So it'll be a good day. There'll be food trucks and a whole festival atmosphere and feel on that day. And Eric, is there anything I forgot from the meeting?
Hoping for good weather.
That's right. We're hoping for good weather. We also the chamber is working with our area businesses to make sure that they have themed items on their menu. Also working with Triton Brewery to see if they can do a special brew for us. All different kinds of things happening. So we really want to get the entire city involved in making it a fun place to come for the eclipse. True Hotel actually has a minimum of 3-night stay, which most of the hotels do for the event. So everyone is expecting it to be really, really big. Travel and Leisure had an article in a recent publication that talked to how Indianapolis is one of the most searched places right now for those dates of places to come. And so Lawrence will definitely be part of that fun.
And mention Moondrop.
Yes, and Moondrop Distillery is also getting involved. So we're getting all those kinds of themed things going on with it. It'll be fun. Any questions?
That's pretty awesome.
We're keeping busy. All right, thank you.
All right. The meat of our gathering tonight, like I always tell people, 99% of the time, we get to do fun stuff. And we've already talked about our trail project we're working on, Lee Road, 63rd Street. It's a part of, it's not a part, I'm going to use my words right, but it's an extension of, and I mentioned this, been 2 weeks ago, the Indy Urban folks held a wilderness, thank you, held a stakeholders gathering at AJ's on 79 Fall Creek to start getting stakeholder input about the proposed Fall Creek Greenway extension. And this is a partnership between City of Lawrence, City of Indianapolis, haven't always gotten along swell, and it has nothing to do with who's at the mayor's seat. That had nothing to do with it. This is an incredible opportunity to work with the state of Indiana too, for the City of Lawrence, City of Indianapolis to take that Lee Road Trail all the way out to Fall Creek and go north, with the goal of tying it in with the Upper Fall Creek Loop and the goal eventually up to 96th Street. And this is all part of Indianapolis, and I'm going to say Lawrence's concerted effort to constantly build on quality of life with the trails movement. And we have a young man in the audience. I wanted to make sure he came here tonight, and that's Joe Murphy. I love picking on him. He knows. He's a new dad, too, by the way, very new. That current next level trail work that's happening right now, Joe wrote the grant after he learned a lot, humbled a little bit after we didn't get it the first time. And I, at the gathering a couple weeks ago, I said that's Joe's baby, and this new Fall Creek Greenway extension is his baby growing up. And it's a big deal. And with that, Miss Corey, we have a he's entertaining, and he should be a teacher. Got a guest from Indianapolis who we're working very closely with. So, Miss Corey, if you'll do the introductions here for this project, and we'll get it going here. I get to do fun stuff, too, with people like this, so.
Pass me the big thing so I can.
The big thing.
Yeah. Pass you the big thing. I'm suddenly uncomfortable, you know.
So I'm excited to share with you the project that we're working on, and Don Coleman is here from Indy Parks and Rec. But here is, in front of you, you have this exact printout, but I just wanted to kind of show. So you can see that the Lee Road Trail that we were talking about goes from Lee Road Park to 63rd, and then it's going to go east to Winona. So what we're looking at through the extension of the Fall Creek Greenway is it will take 63rd and Lee, it will go Lee Road to 71st Street with that bridge, and then it's going to go up Fall Creek to this upper loop and connect with the upper loop trail that is there. So this part here on Lee Road up to the bridge is in Lawrence, and then that goes into Indianapolis. Why is this important? What, it's 19 miles of connectivity, is it? That is going to happen as we continue, and this is all part of the Visionary Trails project, and really making sure that that connection is happening. And so we were really thrilled. I know Joe started some of the conversations back with Indianapolis, and Indianapolis has been a great collaborator and partner with us so far. They have, they are making the investment right now in getting the plans done. You may have seen surveyors along the road or along Fall Creek, and that is thanks to Indianapolis because of a grant that they received through CICF and Lilly Endowment. So we are so grateful to have such good partners to help us with this. When we get to as we write the grant, which is due August 1st, there are different things that are happening. And again, it talks to the commitment and the collaboration of everyone that is involved. So the Indy Urban Wilderness Group is working in our community support. Liz mentioned that she has already filled out information of support and talking about that. They're also working on getting some matching funds through partners within the community. I talked about the match that Indianapolis is doing, but also Don is actually going to be managing the project and if the grant is awarded, but also they are working on a significant part of the application as far as the maps and pulling a lot of the different technical stuff. We're taking the grant that Joe wrote with information about Lawrence, and I'm working on the narrative piece of it. The City of Lawrence is working on the narrative piece, along with the grant that they submitted in 2019, so that we have that Indianapolis and that Lawrence information, putting it together. And they have people from DPW, from Indy DPW, who are also going to be looking at that narrative to make sure everything is up to date. So the process has been extremely collaborative. It's exciting to watch because as we connect from city to city and build these trails, we have to have that type of collaboration and commitment. We will be looking to put into the budget about $250,000 from the City of Lawrence, but when you look, that's pennies.
Oh, God.
Because we had to do $500,000 on the trail we were doing right there, and we don't have those funds, and we've been struggling with that. And Indianapolis has 1.7 million that they are putting in through that match, through the the funding from CICF and from Lilly Endowment. So really exciting to see us working together. So grateful because how fast are we turning this around, Don? 30 days? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
holy
we've been
crap.
going fast and furious on it. But I want to invite Don up. He really has, like Eric, knows
around a
our
long
parks.
time.
They've been around a long time. They've worked together or have known each other and shared ideas for a long, long time. Don is actually, deputy or director? Yes, of the Indy Parks, and also is a Lawrence resident. So Don, if you want to come up and share information, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Corey, for the opportunity to come and visit tonight. She did a wonderful job. I'll try to fill in a few blanks. It's not often that cities get to work closely with each other. Usually we have opposing views and we have these imaginary lines. But our residents don't believe in those imaginary lines. If they're on a trail, they want to transfer smoothly between our communities. And what's so exciting about this trail, this brings this northeast quadrant residents and brings them into your center township where you're offering many amenities. You spoke a lot about that tonight. And I'm here as a deputy director representing Indy Parks as well as DPW Greenways. I've been with the city 33 years. The Greenway system, I started it with Ray Irvin, who we call the father of Greenways in Indianapolis. And Ray would be the big idea guy, and my team would be the folks that built it. So this one's very close. I live right over there in Feather Cove 1. My whole 33 years, have never had a trail in my backyard. So to be able to, I built a lot of other trails for everyone else. I like to think I'm being a little selfish here. I'm building this one for me and the community of residents of Lawrence Township. But as it was mentioned, community Foundation of Indianapolis contributed $1,750,000, which is currently being deployed in the design phase, and eventually will go to prepare construction documents. All the little red flags are some of what the work that you're seeing. What's going to be really exciting about this trail, it's going to offer you a very unique experience along Fall Creek Road. Most vehicles travel quite fast on Fall Creek Road heading north. So I purposely have tried to bring this trail into the woods. And a lot of that is floodplain, so we will be on raised decks, and a lot of proportions of that will be amongst the large trees and the wildlife, and it'll get us safely away from the street. But we are close enough that if you felt intimidated because you're in the woods, you can see the street through the trees, and if you needed to quickly get to the street if there was an emergency situation, you would be able to do that. So we're taking that into consideration. But we're really trying to work with the lay of the land. The trail you just completed on Fox Road that has that raised platform, we're looking to do something similar to that. Sometimes it may not be as elevated, it could be very close to the ground. We like to make it a little wider, that I would have preferred it to be 8 foot wide, because I've noticed it's used quite heavily. If a family's pushing a stroller and someone's trying to go by with a bike, you have to stop. And so if we make it just 2 feet wider, I'll be able to pass, as 2 couples could walk together and pass, or a bike or a stroller could pass. We would probably, if we're fortunate enough, the designers are doing the 10%, which is needed for the application, which is due August 1st. We should know from the state by the end of this year whether we were collectively fortunate enough to receive the grant. The city of Indianapolis will program and the design and the construction management, but the city of Lawrence will actually receive the grant, and we're applying for the $5 million as the regional grant. Right now, the estimate's about 6.2, but we think it'll probably go up a little higher than that if we use a bridge to go across 71st Street. Right now, we're putting 71st Street Bridge on a road diet. And then we've done this a lot in Indianapolis. We put a railing that protects the pedestrian, and then we use the bridge and narrow the lanes here. Another option based on budget is to put a parallel bridge right alongside of it, so it's a total separation. And then Lee Road's going to be pretty easy, because if you notice, there's a lot of right-of-way there in that open grass strip, so that trail will follow that grass strip up. It will meet ADA, American Disabilities Act, because this is state money that we would have to use.
Just for my board's digestion, on Lee Road, it will go on the south side of Lee Road.
That is correct. Good point. So on Lee Road,
West side, yeah.
yeah, it'd be one of the things that's critical, the west side. One of the things that's critical, working closely with the state, is to make sure that we do not go into the nature preserve. So by being on the west side of Fall Creek, in the woods on that side, that's all Indy Park Zone land. That's outside of the state nature preserve, where the heron rookery is and everything. And then as we come up Lee Road, we would be on that south and west side, if you would, of Lee Road, which again takes us out of the nature preserve. And then the state's been extremely cooperative with this. They very much would like to see this trail built as well, because it invites guests to come to the state park. Again, we're driving guests to the front entrance.
Front, that's the key, not
Yes,
the deadbeat.
to their gatehouse. We're not trying to short circuit at 63rd Street and put a bike over the fence.
you go. No.
That's a no-no. We are
Never done that.
driving the trail to the front gate of the state park. I'm excited about this project.
I'm not blowing smoke towards you or Gretchen in particular, but it is just fun to sit in. They're passionate. It's just fun to sit in. And what I've learned from our meetings, you guys would enjoy listening to the design of it, how it can be used. It's very enjoyable. So,
We enjoy what we do.
Yeah.
Again, we're looking for that really unique experience. Now, this will be a 24-hour trail, because the way it works in Indianapolis, the way our Parks Board approved, any of our major greenway trails are open 24 hours because they've used federal dollars to build them. So they're supposed to be alternate means of transportation. Any of our park trails are dawn to dusk. So the loop trail would be dawn to dusk.
okay.
But if you park at the parking lot of the Fall Creek Loop Trail, just south of Kroger's, and get on the Greenway Trail and stay up along Lee Road and continue on, that would be a connectivity trail. So that'd be a 20, at least in our township. City of Lawrence gets to decide how they want to treat the hours in operation of your trails. But in the city of Indianapolis, that trail would have a 24-hour period. That was another reason the state did not want them to go through the parks. We've had that in place for several years now, and we have not had a problem. Where it's mainly used is in the winter times. As we all know, it's dark with daylight savings time. It gets dark around 4:30, 5 o'clock. We had a lot of commuters that were using the Monon and the Fall Creek trails to get downtown and to go to their different businesses and that, and park rangers were ticketing them. because technically the parks were closed. So that was one of the reasons that drove the conversation and the ordinance that allowed them to use our main greenway trails for transportation purposes to come and go to work.
With that being said, as we're looking at updating our park rules, that portion of this trail that will run on Lee Road in the city of Lawrence we will have to craft our rules for that section. Just double checking that, yes.
Yeah, you have full jurisdiction over any trail that's in your township.
And to mention also, the maintenance, and I'm sure Tom would get to this eventually, the maintenance of that trail will fall on the city of Lawrence, where it lies in the city of Lawrence. And then once it crosses the bridge, then Indy Parks will maintain that area.
We had the hot spot, since we're going in the woods and in the floodplain. I can anticipate many trees falling on my bridges and my deck work, and I can see some of my stuff being covered with debris from a flood event.
Daniel Boone here went deep into that woods. You've done some of the
I laid
footwork.
it all out.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
he's been down in there, and I don't know what the
The
heck.
surveyors out there.
Yeah, so I forced them into the woods. I don't know whether they liked it. There's weeds up here.
Yes.
Or native vegetation. They're not weeds.
Oh, that's called a save.
And native flora and fauna.
Right.
That are in there, but it's chest high in spots, which means it's extremely organic soils in there. And I've kicked up a couple fawns and some foxes, and I've seen signs of beaver down in through there. And there's obviously several good fishing spots along the creek.
Oh, yeah. Real quick, because I'd like to see my board reach out, because I've already filled out the urban wilderness growth. Do we know what that site is, the website? Because I'd like my board to go there. It just asks a few questions. It goes, what is your role in the community? Mention your member of the City of Lawrence Parks Board. I've already filled it out, but if we could find a way,
Send the link to you.
get that link to you. It takes maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think you can probably Google Indy Wilderness, and it'll.
Is it?
And it's their landing pages,
Got it.
the link to
The urban wilderness.
Got it. IndyUrbanWilderness.org. Pardon? Indies?
Indy.
Oh, just not plural. Got it.
Okay.
Andy Urban,
Yeah,
what?
in the urban wilderness.
.org.
Andy Urban.
They're the group that was fortunate enough to.
INDYS.
Oh, okay. Indies. Got it. Thank you.
They were the group that was fortunate enough to buy that property on Sergeant Road right
Right,
there.
Sergeant
And then
Road
there's
Conservancy.
additional property going down along Mud Creek.
Oh, God, I forgot about
With
that.
the octagon houses,
Yes,
the
sir.
elevated, they were able to acquire that as well.
Well, the Octagon House has a story unto itself.
Don't ask me.
Oh,
And if I didn't mention, the city of Lawrence will actually bid the construction, because they would, if we're fortunate enough, the city of Lawrence would receive the next level grant, and city of Lawrence would actually bid the project for construction, not the city of Indianapolis. Because you would retain the monies, you would then pay the invoices that would come in and the contractor. They would come before the board, and you would approve or disapprove the bids for the project.
and I am going to be with the board's blessing. I'm going to, part of the application process is letters of support. So I will draft that, share it with you, and I will submit, as part of our grant, I'll run it through Corey, who will package, because I got to do another one with the FHRA also. But I did run that past you, just a letter of support to go forward with this project.
I also should mention, this is very important for the city of Annapolis. We have a diversity and equity clause in all of our contracts. So the firm was selected was RGI Resource Group, Inc. They're a woman in business enterprise. But in addition to that, they had to meet, we have 15% minority business participation, 8% women in business participation, 3% veteran participation, and 1% disadvantaged businesses. So the firm that we selected has met those different criteria, so.
I was gonna ask that today in our meeting.
Not initially in the surveying, I believe they used, I think it was Schneider, which is a WB firm, for survey work, but by time they complete, if, again, we're fortunate enough to receive the grant, by time they complete all the construction documents, they'll use all those various firms that have those diversity components to them. That, again, we do that with every one of our contracts, both on design, professional service agreements, as well as construction. We have now, again, it's your construction document, so I don't know what your specifications would be, but when we do a public bid, we have those same percentages built into our public bids, and our board has actually thrown out low bids because they did not meet those requirements.
Got it.
But again, that's your prerogative. This will be your board's decision on whether you accept the contract or deny a contract. Are there any other questions you may have?
Yeah, 63rd Street and Lee Road. Our trail's on the east side,
Yes.
okay, and so they'll have to cross over.
Be a light crossing, pedestrian crossing at that light.
So what would that look like?
They take on different forms. That's where our traffic engineers would come in. So they come with a simple push button with a pedestrian, and then you get the flashes on either side. You would stripe the actual crosswalk across the street.
Like they have up there at Fall Creek, on Fall Creek Road at the roundabout at Brooks School.
Okay,
But that trail there that runs along at the roundabout, just before you get to the roundabout, they have that flashing and you activate it by just pushing a button. They also have that up on Oleo Road across from HSC. They have it in a couple of places.
Yeah, they can take on many styles. They can coordinate with the existing light system that's there, so they're in sync with the turning radius, as they may slow a lane down from turning, get the pedestrian cross, then open up that lane, or they have the other flashing ones, they only activate when you have a guest there. I should mention too, if budget allows, we could also extend the trail on the same side that we're coming up on letter D on this image, and try to get up to 59th Street or tie into the existing trail. It's going to be based on the budget. If the budget also allows, we would additionally pave the loop trail. And a lot of guests in Lawrence really enjoy that trail behind Kroger's. If you have it in different times of the year, it's a very pleasant, it's just a simple loop. If you're a little braver, you can go underneath 79th Street, and we have a relationship and a memorandum of understanding with Citizen Energy Group, who owns this next parcel of land up to the Geist Dam. There's actually a nice dirt walking path all the way up, and then we share their service drive for a large segment of that. But that would be the next phase. I think we call that letter A on the plan. That's to get us up to safely get us up to Fall Creek Road again, and then eventually drive it all the way to 96th Street to tie into Fishers. But that's another phase beyond this project. Because that's where estimating, as I mentioned, the low estimates right now are about 6.2 million. And the maximum with the next level grant is about 5 million that they would award.
does Lawrence own all the right-of-way around Lee Road and 71st?
We do up to 71st Street, up to the midway in the creek, and then Indianapolis.
We don't have to buy any of
We don't have to buy
that. Okay.
any of it.
And that's the beauty. Indianapolis does not have to buy any land.
It's a
We
land
own that
cost.
land. So that is huge
Yeah.
when you're doing a project. It takes so long. It took me 7 years to acquire the land for the Pensy Trail. 7 years.
This is strictly construction costs.
Yes.
Development, survey, construction.
We're in a really sweet spot with
Yeah,
this
that's good.
potential project.
We're at 71st Street where you're crossing the road at 70. Explain again what that's going to look like.
So that one's a tricky spot, because what we're going to do, you know, the cell tower's right there. We're going to come between the cell tower and the creek. So the trail is coming out of the woods there. You notice if you go there now, you'll see a little dirt road going down where they launch kayaks and that. We're going to come out there, which is safe, then go directly back to the light. We're probably going to narrow that intersection. That's much wider than it needs to be.
Yeah.
And by tightening the intersection, it'll tighten up the turn as if you were going north on Fall Creek Road up towards the Geist Dam. It'll tighten that up. We'll use that light to put a pedestrian crossing right there, safe pedestrian crossing that stops the traffic so the pedestrian, then we'll come up on the south/west side of 71st Street, eventually to Lee Road. That way, we can avoid that 90-degree corner. Instead of being on the outside of the corner, we'll be on the inside on the fort. We'll be paralleling the Fort Bend's property along that grassy mowed area up the hill. So it's a very safe way of bringing, I guess, once we get across the bridge, we'll probably go back down off the road, either with a raised deck or just go down to ground level again until we get to the corner to start going up the hill.
Okay, so you're gonna, you're gonna cross 71st Street or go under it or?
No, are you specifically speaking about the bridge?
Well, wait, yeah, I don't understand. I'm
So the bridge, right now,
bridges.
there's two options we're looking at based on budget. To either parallel a pedestrian bridge right aside of it on the, I'm calling it the south side.
Outside,
Okay.
downstream side.
Yeah, the downstream side, thank you, Eric. The downstream side, one option, it's an expensive one, to put about 150-foot expansion pedestrian bridge along that, which totally separates someone from the street. But the width of the bridge is wide enough that we could tighten up the lanes and put a safe pedestrian 8-foot wide crossing on the downstream side of the creek on the bridge, put up a guardrail or a curb which separates it from the lanes of travel, get someone off the bridge. Once we get off the bridge, we would then go back down into the natural woodland and follow that towards Lee Road. The intersection where the cell tower is, that's going to take some maneuvering of the road there, and we'll figure that out with the traffic engineers. I don't want to create a mid-street crossing, because if you do that, they're really flying on Lee
Yeah,
Road.
they are.
Yeah,
When they turn that corner, when the lights are in their favor, they really speed around that corner. So that's why I'm coming on the creek side, between the creek and the cell tower. We'll invite guests out, and then I have enough right-of-way there to bring them back down to the light and set up the light so I can get a safe crossing to be on the south side of the downstream side, and then stay on that side the rest of the way.
Yeah, because I'm concerned about crossing 71st Street.
You would be in a
That-
pedestrian
When
crossing.
they're turning left off of Fall Creek onto 71st Street.
That travel would stop. The pedestrian, like many pedestrian crossings, you'd have full access without any movement of traffic.
Okay,
And then it would go green light, and it's your choice if you want to go at that point.
okay, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's very important. Safety is very important. Signage, there'll be a signage package that comes with this. We also try to make the trails interesting by having interpretive signs, as was mentioned earlier, to maybe speak to some of the native flora and fauna that you would find along a trail, or maybe the geology of why this trail is the way it was. We have one tricky spot. If you're going just before you get to Kroger's, if you know it goes up a hill and down, right there, the creek wants to take that away from us. So it's narrow. When you're walking that right now, you actually have to hold on to the tree so you don't slide down the hill. What we'll probably do there is do a raised deck, which makes it for a horizontal plane, and we'll either drive pylons in or piers on the creek side to support that, be closer to the road at that point, and then eventually get back down away from the road again.
Is that where Fall Creek Road's coming,
Yeah.
it's falling apart?
Yes, you know the road well. Yes,
Slanted,
It's
yeah.
falling into the creek. That's
Yeah,
exactly
people don't
what it is.
realize, why is this road falling apart?
And you see that big concrete culvert.
Right.
I purposely had them extend that when they were putting that in. I had them add another 2 sections to it, so we'll go right over the top of
Right.
that. That was the reason why that's extended.
Right.
And we'll kind of finish the grade there.
It stands out, but it makes sense, it stands out.
Yeah, I always knew that we would someday get this trail, so,
Prepare for it,
yeah.
like you do.
Jeff, we should have had a resolution for your approval tonight, but I would ask that the board
But, okay,
take a motion and approve the application process that we're applying for the next level trail round number 4 for this project, so.
we have a motion on the floor, well stated by Eric.
I move whatever.
Okay.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Whatever Eric said.
Very, yeah. Very efficient we are.
Remember, I'll remind you tomorrow.
Yes. We're very efficient. Anything else? Anything from the audience? Anything? It's a great meeting, fun stuff. We're adjourned.